to Mondays with Mondane, where we delve into pivotal issues that shape our communities and our lives with an eye on the amplification of marginalized voices. I'm your host, E.D. Mondane. Our guest tonight is one of our own esteemed producers and advisors, Mr. Paul Block. We all know him to have played a huge part as talent executive and segment producer of The Tonight Show with Johnny Carson, but he's also a grandfather, husband, father, community advocate, business owner, and a neighbor with views like yours that count. Our topic tonight is the election's impact as we navigate the crucial intersections for Black and marginalized communities. That's us. And the nation gears up for another election. The stakes are high, especially for Black and marginalized communities. The impact of political decision reverberates through every facet of society, influencing policies that can either uplift or further marginalize vulnerable populations such as the Black community. We want to explore the significance of the upcoming election and talking a little bit about the candidates, their policies, and the potential consequences for communities that have historically faced systemic challenges. Now, we've got to learn first the significance and how to comprehend that. We must reflect on our historical patterns. It always repeats itself. Over decades, marginalized communities, particularly the Black population, have grappled with the issues ranging from economic disparities to systemic racism. The election becomes a critical juncture to address these issues that are deeply rooted challenges for our nation. This sounds a bit boring, all of this does, but it's important. And it's mundane to some of you, but this stuff matters, people. We've got to pay attention. We've got to hear it from somebody. You may as well hear it from me. Redlining has been an issue with our communities forever. It's a historical discriminatory practice, and the minority communities are always affected, with systemically denied loans and insurance services based on our racial compositions in our hoods. This leads to the segregation and economic disadvantage of our communities. We've seen it over and over and over again. The effects of redlining are still visible, with predominantly Black neighborhoods facing persistent economic challenges, limited accesses to loan, and lower property values. A lot of people say that we should stop talking about Jim Crow. Well, we can't stop talking about him because the Joker never died. Enforcing racial segregation in the southern United States in the beginning, perpetrating a system of inequality. This segregation affected all aspects of our lives, including education, employment, and public facilities. Guess what? It still affected our lives right now. The legacy of Jim Crow is evident in enduring disparities in education, employment, and economic opportunities for you and me, brother, you and me, sister, Black and brown people. We've got to look at the stark statistics that highlight the current state of affairs. In our economic disparities category, according to recent data, the wealth gap between Black and white households remains substantially, with Black families holding significantly less wealth on average. The median wealth in white households, guess what? 8 times, my brother, higher than that of Black households. And Black households face challenges in building intergenerational wealth. We can't pass it down. Why? Because we ain't got it. Due to historical and systemic factors, we've got to pay attention, people. The criminal justice system, we talk about it forever, and everybody's always talking about it. And it affects the marginalized community. Disappropriation of those that are incarcerated are off the chains. The impact of criminal justice policies is a crucial aspect that the upcoming election, it's going to shape it. And we've got to push these elected officials into the place where they're making the difference. We all know that Black individuals are incarcerated at a higher rate, more than 5 times higher than that of white individuals. That ain't cool. Not to mention the war on drugs. Oh my God. And systemic biases contribute to the disproportionate impact on Black communities. Wow. Who runs the greatest country on earth is important, people. Hey, Paul, let's talk about the candidates. I mean, you are big on who these jokers are and what they can do. Let's talk about it.
What they are and what they can do, they are.
Who do we have? Okay, we got who? We got. More than likely, it's going to be.
More than likely, it's going to be Biden against Trump for the White House.
We don't want to hear that.
And right now it's 50-50, which I can't imagine why. I can't imagine why Americans will say that Donald Trump is a good man to be leading the United States.
If you had your thought about it, what would you think? I mean, what would you say?
I would like to see him in jail, is my thought. I mean, the man's a criminal.
Why do you think that these people are,
Well, my thoughts are, number one, he owns the corporate world. He has appointed 3 Supreme Court judges who are all corporatists, who are all authoritarian, who all are the executive it runs the country sort of guys.
Yeah.
And that's not right. These guys should be looking at the Constitution and interpreting it for how it affects the people and what is best for the people, but they don't do that. Anyway, Trump owns the rich. He owns the corporations. He owns the people who are fearful that they're going to lose their country. The Jews will not replace us. Remember that in Charlottesville?
Yeah.
And the southern border is leaking like crazy. What's wrong with that? I don't mind a whole lot of people coming in from the South. We could use them. We need, with all due respect, we need workers in this country. And that's where they're going to come from. That's where they have historically come from.
But they're going to take our place.
No, they're not going to take our place.
They're going to move us out.
They're not going to move us out.
They're going to move into our neighborhoods and destroy it.
No.
And we're going to have roaches, and we're going to have mice. And we're going to
we already do. We have roaches. We have mice. These are the people that will go after the roaches and mice on our behalf and kill them. The other place that Trump and the Republicans and the right wing draw their support is from people who I think have not achieved in their lives what they wanted to achieve. I believe that they don't feel their lives were rewarding enough. And they're frustrated, they're angry, and Donald Trump and other Republicans stand up in front of him and they say, "We're your revenge. We're your retribution. Put us in office and we'll go after those people that don't let you move forward."
Let's talk about this. Biden, representing the Democratic Party, presenting a platform focusing on economic reforms, criminal justice changes,
and the maintenance of democracy.
Yeah, and all of the things that we've always heard about it. But the comprehensive health care issues are stagnant. And with the Democratic Party, their track record includes initiatives that aim to bridge the wealth gap and address systemic issues with law enforcement and improve access to quality health care.
The Democrats eat it when it comes to messaging, when it comes to telling people what they've done and what has to be done. The Democrats are bad at that. What they're good at is passing laws that help people. But what they're bad about is telling people, we have passed these laws. You're making $20 an hour now because the Democrats pushed it to be that way.
That's right.
If it wasn't for the Democrats, you would be making $14 an hour.
Yeah.
You're having health care because the Democrats have fought it into every state that it exists. Mm-hmm. If we didn't have Democrats running things, there'd be no Medicaid, there'd be no Medicare, there'd be no assistance to people who need it in getting medical care and getting medicine and getting drugs.
This brings us into the segue of the opposite party. Number 45, representing the Republican Party, emphasizing the no-brainer, education reform, economic opportunity, and individual. And this tickles me. Individual liberties, with the history of campaigning conservative values.
That's a lie. These are not conservative values.
I mean, this is what they're saying.
But they are not. I'll tell you.
They bring forth a vision that aligns with the aspiration of economic growth and personal freedom.
Whether you liked him or not, Ronald Reagan was a conservative. Whether you liked him or not, Barry Goldwater was a conservative.
Yes.
Conservatism in those days were people who wanted to honor the republic, but do it in a different way.
Yeah.
They wanted to have less government help, less government interference, less government involved in your life. The liberals wanted more government help, more government interference, more government involved in your life. And there was always a compromise. There was always an argument, and they'd wind up somewhere in the middle.
In the middle.
That don't happen anymore.
Well, I don't know what happened. I think that we.
You know what I think happened?
What happened?
What I think happened, really, and this is maybe my own theory, I don't know. I think cable television happened. I think that ratings happened. I think cable TV shows get ratings when there's combat. And to have combat, you're going to have one on one side and one on the other side, and they're going to have to fight, and nobody wins. There's a friend of mine in L.A., a conservative named Larry Elder, and Larry had his theme song, "We Won't Back Down, Oh No, We Won't Back Down." You got to back down. If you're going to run a country, you got to have compromise. You got to have women's rights.
Yeah.
You got to have minority rights.
Yeah. Roll up.
Does that mean I should stop or keep?
No.
I mean, what? Look what happened in Texas. Some lady was pregnant, and that lady who was pregnant had a baby who had no brain. He was going to die, and he was going to die inside her. And the chances are that she was going to die, get sick and die, because the baby was going to die inside her and maybe kill her. Needed an abortion. Could not have. Went to court. The court wouldn't let her have an abortion in Texas because they don't let you have an abortion. She had to pack up, get out of her home, go to another state where she could get a legal abortion and do it, and then come home.
Okay, so
she's lucky she could afford it, but look what it did to her life.
So what does this have to do with the divide between the Republican and Democratic?
It's the people on the right, the Republicans, the autocrats, the dictators, want to control your life. They want to control your life by what they consider to be their morality.
Well, is it right to kill babies?
Of course not, but what's in you is not a baby, and we can argue over that.
Yeah.
What's in you is an embryo and a fetus, and when it's born, it becomes a baby. Biblically, it's a baby when it takes its first breath.
Yes.
It's scientifically, it's not a baby when it's inside of you. It has a bunch of other names. It's a baby when it comes out. I'll give you it's a baby when, if it comes out, it could live on its own. I'll call that a baby.
So should we allow the mothers the right to decide?
In my opinion, yes.
What they need to do?
In my opinion, have a baby is totally up to the mother, the woman that has to carry it and deliver it and care for it.
Well, I know that there's so many people who think that, and my opinion is life matters.
Of course, I mean, mine too.
You know, as we land tonight, let's take a quick view.
By the way, there's a big disparity between black and white people over life matters.
Oh, yeah.
I think black people, I'm not sure because I'm not one quite yet. But
One what?
Black.
You got your card. Didn't we give Paul a card? Wait a minute. Stop. We got to give Paul his black card.
My wife says we are all different shades of brown.
Well, you know what? It takes all the colors to make black.
But people who identify as African Americans, I think there's a higher percentage of those people that are not as willing to let women have abortions as white women.
What do you think?
I'm not sure.
I think it's a more of a spiritual and religious concern. I don't know.
Well, if it is religious, it's not a baby until it's born.
Well, I mean, we could talk about that all night, but we could,
and we'll probably disagree on that.
And that's okay. I mean, it's okay with me. But we've got to look at the disparities that divide the fence. Healthcare, the ongoing global health crisis has disproportionately affected.
Having a baby is healthcare.
Yeah, well, marginalized and black communities suffer from it the most.
The most. Absolutely.
Because they don't have the access to the services that are necessary to do it either or in the right way or the wrong way.
Nor the information.
The candidates' healthcare policies, talking about the presidential candidates, and their approach to addressing health disparities become central points of consideration. Stop. Take a look and listen to what they're saying about issues like this that matter to you. We could disagree all night long, but where is the line for you, and how do you become a part or a player in making the difference?
And we're not going to disagree in any imagination at all that everyone in this country is entitled to decent health care.
Yes.
Okay, define what health care is. Do I think that it's a women's right to have abortion or not? Take that on the side. Everyone is entitled to health care in this country, but not everyone gets it.
And so that's one of the crucial issues we got to look at healthcare. Moving on down, it's education. It's a powerful tool for empowerment, and marginalized communities need that. We often face challenges in accessing quality education.
The right wing says you can get great health care if you have enough money to pay for it. If not, sorry, take a hike.
Well, how about education?
If you got enough money to pay for it, great. If not, take a hike.
We've got to be up on each candidate's plan for educational reform.
Absolutely.
Healthcare reform, and it's essential for our understanding, for our uplifting of the communities that we live in. The economic opportunities that are necessary for growth, creating these economic, closing the divides in the economic world is influential in breaking the cycle of poverty.
And then there's the rising tide raises all ships.
Yes.
You can't have the rich getting richer and the poor getting poorer and an equitable republic, an equitable lifestyle. Not fair. Every person, as rich or as poor as everyone else, is entitled to a decent life right alongside everybody else.
You know, job creation strategies. They play a pivotal role in determining the future for Black and marginalized individuals.
We've had a bit of a conversation in the past. I think it's absolutely obscene for anyone in America to have $200 billion and to see babies dying or malnourished or lacking in health care, while someone has $200 billion and children are in poverty. To me, that's absolutely obscene and totally un-American.
Well, you know what? I absolutely agree. We've got to wrap up.
Sorry.
Oh, man, please, don't be sorry. Be careful. While
You
each
bet.
party represented...
I'm Jewish. I got to be real careful.
Each party represented independent, Republican, Democrat, brings their own agenda and perspective. The consensus lies in the recognition that the election's outcome will significantly shape the trajectory of our communities.
Yes.
The importance of voter turnout, especially within our communities, cannot be overstated.
Amen.
As we approach the election, it's imperative to recognize the profound implications for Black and marginalized community. If you don't get involved, then shut up.
And shame on you.
And shame on you. The candidates' policies, historical perspectives, and commitment to addressing systemic issues will shape the course of our nation. This is America, the land of the free, the home of the brave. The power to influence change lies in the hands of you, the voter, you, the community member, who must consider not just individual interests, but the collective well-being of everybody in our community that have been at the margins of political decision-making. Here are 4 crucial ways that Black communities can show up and make their voices heard in the election. Voter registration drives. Be involved. Community leaders can organize and participate in voter registration drives to ensure eligible individuals are registered to vote. Vote, vote, vote. Educational initiative. Hosting forums, going to your school principals and say, listen, educate us. Webinars and town hall meetings to educate the community on the candidates' positions, policies, and the importance of civic engagement. Community mobilization, activating local community organizations to mobilize voters to go out and vote, provide transportation to polling stations, and ensure accessibility for all the community members that you can think of. The handicapped folks, they need some help. There's a lot of challenges to keep people away from the polls. Get them out there. Help. Social media advocacy is always a big plus. We've got to employ the media and employ those people that influence the decisions to be discriminative. When I'm thinking about education, I'm thinking about, the horrificness or the whole gall of book banning.
Book banning based on, they'll ban a book saying they didn't like the way Black people were treated in that book, so that book is going to make it look like white people are bad, so we're going to ban that book.
There's no way we could really get the gist of all the systemic racist policies that kind of make up our nation. But I know this, the power to affect change is in the hands of the community. And by actively participating in the democratic process, Black and marginalized individuals can influence policy that directly impact our lives. A shout out to some folks that you might want to partner with that are advocating for change and have been for many years in this country. The NAACP, the National Association for the Advancement of Colored People. Their mission is to advocate for civil rights, social justice, and economic equality for Black communities. They work to address systemic issues such as racial profiling, educational disparities, book banning, and economic injustice. Check out the ACLU, the American Civil Liberties Union. They focus on defending individual rights and liberties guaranteed by the Constitution, including fighting against racial disparities in the criminal justice system and advocating for fair sentencing. There's another group called the Color of Change. They are a racial justice organization that addresses issues such as criminal justice reform, economic inequality, and media representation. They use online campaigns and advocacy to bring about social and political change. These groups play crucial roles in raising awareness, and you can partner with them.
They need support.
They need support. They need you to help them. And this is a good place for you to start. Changes and mobilization of communities to address historical patterns are very necessary. Systemic issues that contribute to the wealth gap and disproportionate incarceration rates within Black communities, extremely important. And as we approach the 2024 elections, we must understand these dynamics. We must understand that they become essential in comprehending the electorate's mindset. As we wrap up tonight's episode, we want to thank once again Paul Block. And we always know where to find him. It's evident that this coming election is upon us. We invite you to engage in conversation and share your thoughts and stay informed as we navigate this evolving and a slippery slide that we're in our landscape. Thank you for joining us on Mondays with Mondane. As the curtain falls, the economy's a mystery wrapped in an enigma. Join the conversation and spill your thoughts, and stay tuned for the next episode of Mondays with Mondane. Thanks for vibing with us. Until next time, I'm Edie Mondane, signing off. I want to give a special shout out to our sponsors, Poshines, not just a restaurant, but an institution. Located at 8139 North Denver, right here in the heart of Kenton, and you can expect the best soul food this side of the Willamette.
The best brisket I have ever had.
Paul says it's the best brisket.
And my father made good brisket.
Amen. Aunties and Tonties Daycare is right around the corner. They take a real good care of your children. And at Dorn Electric, they light up your life.
Dorn Electric fixed the electric in my house.
Wow. You heard it right from Paul. I'm grateful for their support of this podcast. You can visit me right here on Sunday mornings at Celebration Tabernacle in Portland, Oregon. A special thank you to our technical staff, Dion, Robin, Andy, and Paul. Not one of them is bigger than the other, and they all stand tall. These are the guys who make this podcast possible. If you enjoyed this podcast, please share it with your friends and followers. Turn on your notification so you never miss a thing from Mondays with Mondane. Be sure to follow us on Facebook and YouTube. And we want you to know we appreciate you. And we'll see you later. Bye-bye. Hey, gang, I've got exciting news. I've just finished my memoirs, and writing them was, wow, a roller coaster, but I'm glad that I did it for me and for you, and it's a way to get to know Edie Mondane just a little bit better. What you thought you knew, you didn't know. It's called From Maladies to Melodies, growing up in the South St. Louis projects, and what God has done in my life even to this day. I'm excited to share it with you. Please look for it coming real soon.
Hey, it's time for you to come to Poshine. Check out that catfish sandwich. Oh my goodness, is that the shrimp po' boy? Man, look at that chocolate chip cake. Man, I need to get over to Poshine's at 8139 North Denver. right now because this food looks delicious. Or call if you'd like, 503-978-9000. And don't miss it, you'll be sorry.
In times gone past, we find ourselves making excuses so that people reminded, ooh, I've got to get home and tend to the brand new business. I need some time alone. Can't just wait until I'm finished texting on my phone.